The wealth of a nation is its people. We are the masterminds of innovation, technology, engineering, revolution, and progress. The strides we have made have changed the world in ways our forefathers could have never imagined. The purpose of this development is to create an enabling environment for people to enjoy long, healthy, and creative lives. However, in society's pursuit of wealth, this is often forgotten. Sustainable development, our focus on the program today. Welcome. You are watching Our Environment, Our Future. I'm your presenter, Ruth Benzu Witola. The amazing construction of Kafue Gorge Lower Hydropower Station, with the capacity to produce 750 megawatts of power, will address the growing demand for electricity in the country and region. The architecturally eye-catching King Lubosi Imwiko II Bridge connects Mongu to Kalabo and Barotaland in general. The advent of new forms of communication has kept people connected. The emergence of shopping malls has provided a variety of products for shoppers. In addition, we have also experienced the evolution of healthcare facilities. Is all this sustainable development?
Chativuta kuno manzi alipeko enda. Mukati muyangane uku nikozula na ukukonse nikozula. Bana ba skulu monga bana bangono batu aba bambiri tinakukisa chifukwa cha manzi maskulu banaleka kuyendako pa maskulu pa bapunzira uti maskulu tungono monse muli manzi kulibeko bazaenda maisa tizachita bwanji.
Actually, there are so many problems which has been brought about by the so-called block making industries. As you have seen, even the vegetation itself can give you a signal of how much pollution they are doing to the environment we are living in. If I were to give you a chance to enter my house, you see how much dust is being, which is coming from the same block making machine entering into our houses. Not only that, some time back we used to grow a lot of vegetables and other things, but now you can't plant anything due to this dust pollution.
Ile vuto amenaona hapo munga yoleta ya ma industries makomboni ileta vuto munga dust, so ize bana kudwala vimfine vifuwa nangu isamene timadabu pena ngukamba ati why vifine na vifuwa sivisira, so tikalingalia maningi tuona vuto chokera ku dust yamechoka ku ma block elo, so chinango bama block bayamba sometimes inshito na 03 something vij. So timba mbela maningi chongo vije. So sometimes iza akawala kutingenela kati stima ikakonzela maybe tikambela chongo tigaza ati ni kuma block.
I stay in Molite, just near the fence area, and most of the time I would say at night, and now it's common, we have elephants that come through. The earliest they come is around 18. So those that are closest to the fence, they have to get inside. Sometimes they do come out, they enter people's yards, especially when it's mango season. So you'd find that we, the community members or dwellers, we go out, we start making sounds so that we chase the elephants to go away. It has a bad impact on us human beings because sometimes when it's dark, you can't see an elephant.
Development, important as it is, is meaningful when it is sustainable. But what is sustainable development?
Sustainable development basically means that the ability of a society to balance between its environmental needs, social needs, as well as economic needs. So from the environment side, it basically we entail that we use our natural resources in a manner that society now, or we can say Zambia now, is able to make use of its resources and then leave some for the future. But it also means that the current generation has a fair share of the natural resources. And the best example I can give to demonstrate equity or equilibrium along the three facets of sustainability, which is environment, social, and economic, it means that people need to have a fair share of all the three, or there should be an equilibrium. So if people are very poor, it will mean they will turn to the natural resources. You hear about charcoal burning. So if people cannot have income from other sources, they tend to chopping down trees, which will create an imbalance basically in the ability of this generation to leave these three capitals for the next generation. Now, putting it simply, it means that all the citizens need to be aware that we do not have the resources indefinitely, or we do not have them in abundance, so to say. We have them in a limited amount. So if you have a cake, and the cake is maybe 1 kg, and you have to use that cake today, tomorrow, and forever, it means that you can't eat 900 grams and leave 100 grams. No, it will mean that you determine how much of it you eat and then leave some for the next generation. So put simply, the resources we have, we do not need to finish them up today, but we think about our children. In fact, in Bemba, there is an interesting saying that imiti kula empanga. So meaning that if we don't take care of what we have now, or the current resources, then we will not have anything for the future.
Sustainable development strives to promote progress that does not harm the environment. You are part of this progress. Indifference can cost future generations.
The potential impacts of developmental activities on the environment are diverse. One, it depends on the nature of the developmental project at hand, and these range from impacts on air quality, impact on water quality, impact on the soil itself, and various other components of the environment.
Surely, development and environmental protection should go hand in hand. This is what we call sustainable development. Our government recognizes the need for sustainable development.
ZEMA's role in the drive towards achieving sustainable development, it's at the core of our mandate. As a regulator in the environmental sector, we are responsible to promote sustainable development. And when we talk about sustainable development, we're talking about development that needs the aspiration of the present generation, whilst not compromising the needs of the future generations. So as ZEMA, it's our mandate ensuring that developmental activities that take place in the country are done in a sustainable manner. Environmental impact assessment is a systematic examination of conditions around a project area to determine if a given project will have adverse environmental impacts and how those adverse environmental impact could be mitigated. So in a nutshell, that's what environmental impact assessment is. It's a process that, a study that one has to undertake to understand the impacts of a given developmental activity on the environment and how are you going to mitigate against the negative impacts of the project. The projects that require EIA are stipulated in the environmental management regulations, in the environmental impact assessment regulation, statutory instrument number 28 of 1997. And in there we have two schedules. There's the first schedule for projects that have a less significant impact on the environment. For example, when one is setting up a filling station or a service station, the level of assessment is that of an environmental project brief, which is lower in terms of magnitude. If, on the other hand, you are going to put up a housing complex that will have more than 7,000 dwellings, we need to understand the impact that such a project would have. And as such project in the regulation, it appears in the second schedule of the regulation, meaning that a full environmental impact assessment is required for such a developmental project to go on.
Kazungula Bridge is one good example that was constructed with the environment in mind. Others include the Mongo Kalabo Road, Kafiwe Gorge Lower, and other development projects.
All the monitoring is important because we are in a very sensitive area. We are in a floodplain which is connected to the Zambezi River and the Chobe system, and we are right next to a national park. The national park in Zimbabwe is also not far, and we are very close to the previous trip as well. So we must make sure that these unique habitats and areas are not negatively impacted by the construction here in Botswana or on the Zambian sides. My duty is to make sure that all three packages, the border post and the bridge, comply with our environmental legislation of both countries. To make sure they do that, we conduct a monthly monitoring of the surface water, which gets then analyzed and reported. We conduct a quarterly groundwater sampling to see if there's any effect on the groundwater and the drinking water. We also monitor the aquatic ecology, fish populations and freshwater invertebrates to see if there's any impact on aquatic communities. We also, since we're on a construction site, we have a lot of dust development. We're trying to monitor the dust pollution within the area in Botswana and Zambia and do that on a monthly basis. And the last we are monitoring is the noise level caused by the construction to see if this, for sure we have noise, but we need to see if this affects local residents.
The environmental impact assessment process has several benefits. For a start, it's a planning tool. It helps who would be an investor to spend their money wisely, because an environmental impact assessment looks at sustainability, environmental sustainability. And when we talk about environmental sustainability, we're looking at social, economic, as well as the physical environment itself. So sustainable development is one that will integrate all these and take those into consideration. So the benefits of EIA is, one, you will save money because you will not do an activity that may negatively impact the environment and may be costly in the long run. So when you do an environmental impact assessment, it allays the fears, because in the report you will outline what measures you're going to put in place to mitigate the likely negative impacts that a project would have. And as such, it will help you in terms of the cost, because you will not be reacting, rather you will be proactive, because you would have had this study done and then you just implement in accordance with the approval conditions. So it helps also in transparency, because an environmental impact assessment is one that requires a proponent or a developer of a project to consult widely with interested and affected parties. These are not limited to communities, but also the regulatory agencies or authorities such as the local authorities and the regulatory agencies like WAMA, for instance, in the water sector, the Energy Regulation Board for energy projects, the Department of National Parks for wildlife and other such kind of projects. So you have quite a number of stakeholders who are involved in the environmental impact assessment. So it's a transparent process and helps to promote sustainable management.
There are still development projects that may have negative impacts on the environment despite undergoing environmental impact assessment. Corrective measures are then imperative.
In the event that a project is approved and in the long run the developer does not abide to the conditions of approval, there are sanctions in the Environmental Management Act. One such is that at times when a developer has an approval from ZEMA, there is an order that ZEMA can issue. That order is called a compliance order, to compel the developer to comply to the conditions of the decision later, or any authorization that the agency may give. And that compliance order will stipulate what measures the developer should undertake and for what period that those measures should be implemented. Failure to do so, then it's the court processes. Then that developer could be taken to court, and then the court will determine the sanctions.
Principally, there are three aspects which are looked at when you are decommissioning a place. One is to ensure public safety. The other one to ensure environmental protection. Then you also take into account what is the proposed land use post-decommissioning. So those determine what you do at a site when you are decommissioning. Where we are standing now, we had an open pit here. Open pits are basically, if your ore is close to surface, you can't sink a shaft, so you do an open pit. You start off by taking out material which is above the mineral, in this case, copper ore, and then you take out the ore. For us here, because of the location of the place, our plan was to take out the ore without blasting. As you know, mining entails blasting. So for this open pit, we worked it out without the blasting. We are doing what we call scraping and just drilling, and then the ore was friable, so it was breaking on its own, and then we could load it out and take it to the processing plant. And that was the specific. It was an agreement, and the ZEMA ensured that that was followed through the life of the operation here. When we finished, then we looked at the options of, do we just fence it off and leave it as an open site? Then we decided that we needed to backfill it. So that's how, where we are standing now, it was a pit measuring 600 meters in length, 150 meter across, and 50 meters deep. So then we backfilled this site, and that's where you can see it now. It looks as if it has turned to its back to natural state. It's still in the process of that return, and over years, it will be like the way it was before. And also you leave it in a state where there is potential for economic value in the future. You could use that site for other economic activity. If you hand it back to government, government can come up with the other projects for which that land can be used.
Environmental impact assessment is not only limited to large-scale industry and projects. Our economic systems, technological advancements and innovations should be informed by our quest for sustainable development. This calls for behavioral change in each one of us. Let us live a better environment for the next generation. Act, live, and think sustainably. I'm your presenter, Ruth Wenzu Witola. You have been watching Our Environment, Our Future. Till next time, it's goodbye for now.